Warframe will get a new update this week which introduces a bunch of new content. We're gonna get the next Nightwave season with tons of rewards, a bunch of fashion options, in-game Dungeons and Dragons, and even some smaller reworks. So, in this quick update video, I want to get you up to speed on everything that's happening and what you need to know before the launch. Big shoutouts to all our generous channel members, and now, let's jump right into it. Okay, first things first, the most important information. What in the world is even going on, in case you haven't heard about it already, and when will the update drop? Well, this week's update is not going to be your traditional Warframe mainline update. The next one of those is probably going to come in early October. No, this update is called Amir's Shockwave, and it introduces the new Nightwave season with the same name. However, it should be said that unlike your traditional Nightwave refresh, this update is quite a bit bigger because it's not only focused on the Nightwave, but it also introduces a bunch of other new stuff that we're going to talk about later throughout the video. The whole thing is going to launch on August the 12th, which means on Wednesday, and if we go by their usual release time, then it's probably going to be between 10 and 11 AM Eastern Time, which would translate into 4 to 5 in the afternoon Central European. But alright, let's talk about the biggest point of the bunch right off the bat, and that would be the brand new Nightwave season, which goes by the name Amir's Shockwave. The first thing that I of course have to mention with a brand new Nightwave season, and the biggest take-home message of the entire video, would be spend your Nightwave credits that you have right now. Once the new Nightwave season starts on Wednesday, your current credits will not carry over. You will not be able to use them in the Nightwave shop anymore. The only thing you can do is sell them off for a bit of credits. As for Amir's Shockwave, this is actually going to be quite an interesting one. The whole season is naturally going to be more 1999 and Helvenia themed, so let's talk about what you can get out of it, shall we? First of all, of course, you can expect a bunch of the standard. You're gonna get weapon slots, Warframe slots, a couple of forma in all different variations, and naturally, every couple levels, the corresponding Nightwave credits that you can then spend in the shop. On top of that though, we have quite some juicy and funny cosmetics as well as 2 very interesting weapon augments. Let's talk about it. First and foremost, on level 2 already, you can expect this wonderful and absolutely not terrifying Drippy plushie. If you like dripping out your orbiter, then what are you waiting for? Also, the Techrot armor set from a previous Nightwave is gonna return, so in case it's your cup of tea, then you can go and get it. One very sleek looking item though would be this Skuldra themed Sayandana that you will be able to get at level 6. If you want to put together some 1999 Skuldra look, then this one right here is an absolute must. If, however, you want to have some fat beats in your orbiter, then how about this Sub-Meower? You know, a cat-themed subwoofer as decoration. If I remember it right, there was even one person at TennoCon running around with one of these in real life. I would love this to be an official merch item. That would be pretty insane. But okay. If you care more about the actual numbers in the game, then you're looking forward to level 10 because this is where we have our first weapon augment. This one is called Prototype Shock Coils and it is for the EFV8 Mars, so we, stick with the Skuldra theme. This one gives you 90% electricity damage, and on top of that, it will add another 20% chance to apply an extra electricity status regardless of your actual electricity status chance. To be 100% fair, I haven't really played the EFV8 Mars all that much, so I can't theory craft a build right off the bat, but if you like, then I might be able to get you a build guide on this weapon once I unlock the augment. Let me know in the comments down below if this would be something that you're interested in. We will also get a Drippy Sagatra in case the Drippy Floof was not drip enough, and you can put Drippy on your melee weapon as well now. The Zaku Raya skin returns in case you've missed that one in a previous Nightwave, and on level 25 we will have our new augment mod, this one for the EFV5 Jupiter, the Skuldra assault rifle. Also here, I can't really theory craft if this one is gonna be good or not, but if you like, then I'm gonna give you a build guide on this weapon once I have the augment. It definitely sounds quite unconventional, so I'm looking forward to testing it out. We then also have a new color palette coming on level 27, so especially for the free-to-play players out there who don't have access to all that many colors, color palettes are always amazing. Make sure to try to get this one as well. And last but definitely not least, I also want to give a special mention to the level 30 item, and that will be this sick biker suit that you can equip to both your drifter as well as your operator. I personally think it looks absolutely amazing, and in my opinion, it's definitely worth getting. And of course, if you could leave a quick like for the video as well, that would be super awesome with the YouTube algorithm, so thank you so much for your support. Alright, so much for the Nightwave. However, if you think that this is already everything for Amir in this new update, then you are mistaken, because we now gotta talk about Warframe's version of Dungeons & Dragons, which goes by the name of Fables and Frontiers. The next update will not only introduce the Nightwave, but also this brand new addition to the KIM system, the chat terminal in the 1999 mall. What you will find after the update is that there is a brand new room in the Helvania Mall, which is where the Hex have set up their Fables and Frontiers table. The whole room design is made to look medieval, kind of Dungeons & Dragons-like, and we as players will be able to join this campaign of Fables and Frontiers by walking up to the table and talking to Amir. There, we will set up our character as either a knight, a wizard, or a rogue, and after that is done, you will have a brand new 6-day text adventure available in the KIM system for the specific campaign of Fables and Frontiers with all the Hex that are playing with you. Important to know here is that in order to gain access to Fables and Frontiers, you have to meet a couple of prerequisites. First of all, you have to be completely finished with the Hex quest, the 1999 quest. You also have to be rank 5 with the Hex Syndicate, and your KIM system chemistry with Amir needs to be at least close. Now, in the primetime stream last week, the devs have said that there will also be a little exclusive reward shop available with Amir tied to Fables and Frontiers, but they didn't show anything about it because it contains spoilers with regards to this new KIM system edition. So yeah, just wanted to say it's not purely for your enjoyment, there will also be a few little rewards that you can get by playing this. Another thing here that I should mention though before we move on is that this whole Fables and Frontiers KIM system adventure, that is not tied in any way to the Nightwave season, and it is a permanent addition to the game. So it won't be seasonal, it won't be gone after Amir's Shockwave is over, you will be able to play this in 5 years from now on. How about though, up next, we talk a little bit more endgame, let's talk a little bit more fashion frame, because there is a lot to come with this content drop. The first thing I want to mention here would be Baruch Deluxe, a brand new deluxe skin coming for our definitely not so chill monk who definitely likes to punch people in the face, and this skin looks absolutely beautiful. You can see it in the background right now with a bunch of color variation to give you a bit of a feeling. They showed that on the primetime stream last week as well. And this deluxe skin is not going to come alone, but it's also going to include a brand new skin for swords and shields. You can also see that right here, and the special thing about it is that technically your sword is not going to be a sword anymore with this one, but it's going to be a, what is it called in English, a morning star? Like the thing with the ball on the chain, you see it in the background, right? I think it's cool. It also has dangle physics, which will be very fun in practice, and that comes with the Baruch Deluxe skin as well. On top of that, Baruch Deluxe has his own new Signa, which you can see on and off in the background right there, and the Signa adds additional, let's call it dangles, in the back of his head as well as in the front. On top of that, Baruch Deluxe also gets his new own ephemera, which is a more ethereal, ghostly thing surrounding his body, and also here you can turn that on and off as you please. One more addition though, that isn't necessarily tied to Baruch Deluxe but to fashion in general, is a rework on positioning your Signas. With this week's update, you will now be able to reposition your Signas not only on the Y, but also on the X-axis. This way, you have more control to put your Signa exactly where you want it on your personal fashion, and I am looking very, very much forward to this because I think this is some much needed freedom when it comes to really dripping out our looks. But if you think the fashion train has already departed, then you are mistaken because we just got started. In addition to Baruch Deluxe, we're also gonna get 2 brand new Tenogen skins. The first of which would be a Kullervo skin, and this one is very much out there. It's a sort of centipede Kullervo skin where his head is a centipede and it's like dangling down on his back. I want to be real, I think that looks pretty freaking cool, and I might want to see if I can incorporate that into my personal Kullervo. In addition to that, we also get a brand new hero skin, which is going to be corpus themed. You can see it in the background right here, and I personally really like this because we already have so many corpus-themed attachments, bandanas, and in general fashion options that I think would match very, very nicely with this if you want to do a purely profit-driven hero. Oraxia, the Spider Queen though, also gets one little item, not quite a full skin, but she does get a Tenogen helmet, which you can see in the background right now. This one is not really all that much out there, it's very much in line with her general design language, but if you want to have some variety, then this one might be very nice too. On top of all of these skins, we're also going to receive two new Tenogen Signas, the first one being a more fairy-like thing that I could very well imagine would work nicely on Titania, and the second one is the one that you see in the background right now. I think on many frames, this could also be pretty sick. The operator, furthermore, will receive this face hugger face mask thing, and all of these beauties will all ship this week on Wednesday when the update launches. That would be it for the fashion. Let's quickly though get back to a bit more of an in-game related topic, and that has to do with one Warframe rework that will launch this week as well. Remember how not too long ago we did talk about the Jade Stars nerf? That is gonna happen this week. Jade Stars going forward will have a line of sight check. We already talked about that, and generally I think everybody's kind of sort of fine with that. But what I wanted to remind you all is that this will also come together with a buff for Sirius and Orion. To be more precise, their fourth ability will now force proc heat or slash respectively of which of the brothers is currently scoring the hit while using your ultimate ability. This will be a pretty significant buff for the skill, because by force proccing these heavy DOTs, you're gonna get some pretty sick killing power. And yes, I would imagine that especially for the force procced heat effect, Archon Vitality will probably be a pretty good option. One more thing that I wanted to remind you of is Prime Resurgence. Remember how previously we were talking about Baruch Deluxe? Well, that's actually perfect timing, because right now in the game, Baruch is currently unvaulted. He now is farmable as part of Prime Resurgence. If I'm not mistaken, then he should be available for like 3 more weeks, so it's not like you're in a rush to do so. And in his resurgence, he will be joined by Revenant Prime, about whom I already made an updated build video the other day. Just wanted to mention that in case you wanted to farm either of those two. And last but not least, another quick reminder that currently the Dog Days Summer event is going on, which not only has its own reward shop with a bunch of stuff that might be interesting for you, but we're also gonna get double affinity weekends for each and every weekend in August, so there's 3 more to come. If you still have to power level a bunch of gear, then this is your chance. If you like to, and you have a bit of spare platinum, then you could also go and combine a double affinity weekend with a double affinity booster to get 4 times the affinity and really burn through your entire backlog of weapons in just a day or so. And in case you still need to get up to speed on Dog Days, then I already have a video on that right here as well. Big thank you again to Demon Hortel, Demon Emperor, Emperor Prime, Nost Linux Gaming, Underkani02, Pepperwolf, Mihawki, Socrates the Almighty Rat, Leo Morazaki, Hantares, Patrasader, Boomia1, Zave, Awinai, Zengen, Quax, Blue Eagle 98, Hearthwield, Everin 8802, Gabriel, Tevez, Yako Ivan Gonzalez, G. Schnoz, Mufdis, Cronju, and all other generous channel members for your continuous support. We see each other hopefully in the next one, and until then, as always, good loot.